Hey there, welcome to another episode of Tales from the Podcast. I'm your host, JB, and before we go ahead and jump into all this shit, I definitely want to remind everybody to check out some of the people that help support us, including the comic book, Tales of Shock and Terror. You can get that over at talesfromthepodcast.com. Scroll down, you see the pictures. It's only a few bucks. I mean, it helps us. It does a good cause. And not only that, but I mean, it's a fucking fun read if you're into horror comics. Now, not only that, though, we also got to talk about House of Mysterious Secrets. Check them out over at houseofmysterioussecrets.com. Use our code 4130. Save 10% on your horror merch. They got shirts, masks, toys. I mean, everything, basically. If you're a horror fan, that fucking website is for you. And also, check out our friend Sydney, who may go ahead and also throw this out there, too. Congratulations, Sydney, who actually got married. So congrats to her, and check out everything that she has going on over at her store on Etsy. And you can use our code TFTP20 for 20% off. She does wax melts and stuff like that. So, I mean, if you're into that, which let's be honest, everybody wants their house to smell pretty fucking good. Check that shit out and save a little bit of money. Help support her. I'm sure she's going to need all the help she can get right now after just paying for her wedding. So, yeah, check that out. Anyways, let me go ahead and introduce our guest for this evening as we're jumping into another episode from season 6. My buddy, Martel. How's it going, buddy?
I'm doing well. How's it going there to everybody out there? I'm glad to be here, and I'm excited about this episode.
I will be honest. I mean, considering that we're into season 6, some of these later seasons kind of the episodes don't hold up as much as you would have hoped for. This one, though, I think is a little bit better than some of the other ones, to be honest. I mean,
Most definitely.
it is what it is. But before we get into that, man, why don't you tell everybody what you've been up to? What's going on over there?
Uh, Only thing that's been going on with me, I've been working on my book lately. Working on a book. Hopefully that'll be out within the next year or so. And other than that, they
Nice.
can just check me out podcasting every Tuesday and Thursday.
Fucking sweet, man. So, do we get any insight on this book, though, man? I mean, come on, tell us a little bit.
It's in the early stages. All I know is based off a woman who she was told just say she became real famous later in life, and she was told that she was known as the girl who has it all, and she's telling the story from point of view as at one point she was a girl who didn't have it all, and it's some pretty twisted, crazy things that happen that can happen to people in life, and I think it'd be a very good read.
Well, I'm excited to check it out, man. So hopefully, when you get into these little bit later phases of it, we can talk and maybe
Most, def-
figure some stuff out, get you back on and promote it a little bit more.
most
So,
definitely.
anyways, man, I asked you to come on to talk about an episode with me, an episode of Tales from the Crypt. And this episode that we are doing this evening is, like I said, from season 6. This is episode 8, which officially puts us like right into like the halfway mark of season 6. So I'm getting pretty close to being done with the show, at least the live action show, which is kind of a weird feeling. I mean, started this show quite a few years ago, and it's like, God damn, where is fucking time gone? I'm almost done with season 6. Then after season 7, then, I got the cartoon. I can talk about the game show a little bit, which not everyone knows there was a game show, but it's still fun to fucking talk about. But I mean, it's just it's a really weird feeling thinking about it. Like, man, it's almost over. But anyways, this episode is titled "The Assassin," and it is based off a story of the same title from Shock Suspense Stories number 17. And this episode originally aired December 7th of 1994. I was 6.
I was too.
Well, I mean, I was actually to the point in my life of actually watching these episodes live now, which it's cool thinking about it and everything. Because, like, I don't know about you, but like back in the day, like my dad had one of those little fancy black boxes that unscrambled certain channels like HBO.
Yes, I definitely know about
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
that.
The good days.
Yeah, these kids today wouldn't know anything about that.
Oh, no way in hell. They'd be confused. Like, wait, there's a box hooked up to the TV?
Exactly. Like there was no app to watch cable television or anything like that. There was the actual
No.
box, a brown. We had the black one. And we had the one that like kind of like a wood grain looking box too. Also,
Oh, yeah.
that we used to have. Yeah, it's and you got the certain channels where you can watch certain stuff that you're not supposed to watch as a kid.
Right. I loved it though. I mean, it was so much better of a time. There's no
Yeah.
arguing that though. Not at all. Um anyways, to go into this episode just a hair now. This episode was directed by Martin von Hasselberg. Now that's a fucking name. People might know him for what was it he did? UHF, Forbidden Zone. He did a music video from the what's it called? The Bette Midler Beast of Burden. He was in that. I mean, the dude's done a few things. I mean, there's really no arguing that. And he's obviously friends with Bette Midler because he didn't just do that thing for her. He also directed the Bette Midler "My One True Friend" music video as well. He directed it as Harry Kipper, though, so sometimes it looks like he kind of goes with a different name on occasion, but still pretty cool. Other than
Yep.
that, though, it's like really didn't do too much. You know what I mean? Like he, his last actual acting role was in 1990. Well, I guess not last, but he did the Spirit of '76. And then the next one after that from 1990 is in 2019.
Oh
And he
wow.
was in the Rolling Thunder review. So it's like the guy's like he just jumps all over the place and it's just very random. But it's still real cool. And you know what? I think I figured out why he does all this stuff for Bette Midler. Because he married her in 1984. So
Oh. Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense then.
yeah, I mean, it's like, well, I mean, how'd they become friends? But I guess obviously we get a little bit of insight there,
There,
that's for
there
sure.
was some bang, 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 bang going on.
Well,
Makes
I
sense.
mean, eh. What can you do? Now, now I don't really get the chance to talk about this stuff too much, but the one of the main things I really do want to talk about with this episode is the Crypt Keeper intro that we get in this one is very different than most other ones. So we get like a little bit of a crossover, which is, people might think is weird, but when you really put it together, we got Kevin Yeager, who does a lot of the special effects for Tales from the Crypt, who also did the special effects for Bill and Ted. Hence us having the William Sadler version of the Bill and Ted death character in the intro for this episode, which I personally really fucking love that.
Anything that involves the Grim Reaper, which reminds me of the Undertaker, I was drawn in. I was like, I was for it.
Right. But I mean, specifically the William Sadler, though, I mean, his death alone is, like, you've seen the old Bill, like, even he was in the new one, but I mean, you've seen the Bill and Ted films, I'm assuming, correct?
Let's say a few.
Oh yeah, so it's just it's just cool being able to see that character come in, and they're chopping off their body parts over rock paper scissors, and having a little bit of fun, which is cool. I like it. Um,
The ending at the end between them two is hilarious. Also,
oh yeah. Now, before we go ahead and jump into the actual episode, let's talk about some of the people that were in this episode. So we got Shelley Hack as Janet McKay. Shelley Hack is probably best known for, I'd say, the stepfather. She was also Anne in the Troll. If you ever saw the original Troll film,
no.
no, I'm telling you, it's one worth seeing. Is it great? I'm not going to answer that,
I
but
wonder
it
if
is.
if it's one of those movies that I probably have seen, but just don't remember I've seen it.
Well, I'll leave it at this. Troll has a little bit more of a following. Troll 2 has been known as one of the worst movies ever made. So, I mean, it is what it is. But, I mean, I really suggest at least watching the first one. I personally think it was a lot of fun. Might not have been the best thing in the world, but still fun. And as far as like still acting and stuff, she hasn't really done much as far as acting goes in quite a while. But she is actually producing stuff still. Not very often, but I think she has something in post production, or not post, but pre production at the moment. Zombie Blondes. So that is something that will be coming out too, which is it's cool. At least she's still working. You know.
That sounds like a
Now,
porn.
well, I mean, you get a lot of those kind of people on these shows too. To be fair, but I don't know. I don't think so, though. I don't think so. Now, playing her husband in this film is Marshall Teague, and he plays Jeremy McKay. And oh god, where did I put him? Right here. All right, he's I guess he probably has a little bit more of a what would you call it? His resume, if you will. He was in Armageddon, Roadhouse, Babylon 5. I mean, the dude's in like 5 or 6 things right now that are still not even out yet. The guy is acting like, yeah, I mean, he has well over 100 credits. He's done a lot of shorts, a lot of TV shows. Nah, I wouldn't say like a huge amount of movies though. He did. Oh yeah, I forget. This is probably a good thing. He did. He was a reoccurring character. Well, he did a couple reoccurring characters, may I add, in Walker Texas Ranger, which I don't know. I think we all know that show pretty well.
Like the reboot or the original one?
I don't. The original? I don't know. I didn't even realize there was a reboot.
Yeah, it's a reboot with Jared Padalecki from Supernatural.
Have you seen it?
I have not.
Has anybody seen the Walker Texas Ranger reboot? Because I'm kind of curious on the way
I
this
think
is
they
gonna
just
go.
changed the name to like just Walker now or something like that, but it's basically a reboot of that movie. I mean that show.
Yeah, right. Gerard says, agreed, good movie. Obviously, we're talking about Troll. And David's chiming in. The original Troll had a very young Julie Louis Dreyfus. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're completely right. David, I love you, man. Thanks for always joining in on this stuff and always watching. I mean, you're a great guy. Anyways, back into this. He was also on Star Trek. He was in The Rock. I mean, the guy's been in a shit ton of fucking movies, and a lot of TV shows too. Oh god, he did 5 years of fucking Days of Our Lives.
Oh God! Please tell me that
Yeah,
show's dead.
I got a feeling. No, it's still on because I remember they just had like a whole new story because now they're doing a lot of stuff on streaming, and they had like the first threesome or something on there. It was like a whole news article I saw.
God,
Because he was
what
he was
is that
also in U.S.
still?
SEALs too. They, oh yeah, he's definitely been in quite a bit. That's for sure. Now we also have Chelsea Field in this, and she plays Simone. Probably one of my favorite characters in this episode. Now I will say that her acting career is probably not as great as some of the other ones, but she is actually somebody who's in. I guess I'm trying to like figure out the right way to word this. She was in one of my favorite movies of my childhood. I'm not going to say that movie was good by any means. I'm not going to say that movie holds up by any means. But when I was a kid, I fucking adored the fucking hell out of this movie. But she was in the Masters of the Universe movie. She played Tila. Um, if anybody who doesn't know, the Masters of the Universe movie is definitely a He-Man movie from 1987 that was live action, and very different than what we really kind of wanted at the time.
Consider that my brother, our oldest brother, is the biggest He-Man fan ever. He's never mentioned that movie ever.
No,
Never
you're
mentioned that.
joking, dude. All right, well, all right, all right.
And like he's about, I
That's
think he's about to
surprising.
be 40 this year, and he was like, he's never mentioned it.
All right, well, I'll give you just a little bit. Go into it. All right, so He-Man was played by Dolph Lundgren. Skeletor was Frank Lagula. Meg Foster was in it. Billy Barty was in it. Courtney Cox was in it. It was by no means like a um like shit casted film. There was actually people in it that were good.
Yeah, I recognize some of those names. Yeah.
Right, right. And yes, it did also had James Tolkien in it, who was in the trap. You are correct once again, which still cool. But anyways, going back to Chelsea Field here. She was in The Last Boy Scout. She was in Commando. Now,
Hmm.
other than that, though, I mean, uh, not as much good stuff. She was in one of the shittiest not remakes, but sequels, The Birds 2, which,
Oh.
yeah. But she was in Skin Deep. Masters of the Universe is still, like, I would say her best thing that she's ever done, in my opinion. Now, we also got Jonathan Banks in this episode as William. Jonathan Banks is definitely somebody who I would say his early career, a lot of people don't know too much about him. But ever since like Breaking Bad, I would say he that's probably when he got like his now the world knows who this guy is. So and I guess that's just basically just the truth of it. He's been in a lot of stuff. There's no arguing that, but I mean that was probably one of his biggest roles that people actually got a chance to want to watch and continuously watch all the time. He was in this episode of Tales from the Crypt as well. He did an episode of Walker, Texas Ranger. Trying to think of what else he did. He was in Free Jack. He did the voice. He did the voice of Dirk Moran in Flipper, the video game from the '90s. If you remember that game. Let's see, what else did he do? He was the deputy in Gremlins. So he had like some pretty small little roles, but
I do remember Gremlins.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate because I mean he's a great actor, that's for sure. And yes, the original Birds is a classic. Um, we might be doing that one again, like eventually here. So I do know that it's been mentioned to me. I know there's somebody who wants to touch that one, that's for sure. But we'll be getting into that one at a later date. Now, anyways, we also have Corey Feldman in this episode as Todd. Corey Feldman is probably, what would you say he's best known for? That super fucking shitty fucking band that he's in? Or he's probably,
I almost forgot he existed because I was like watching this like, why do I know this person? Like I should know who this is.
oh my
And
God,
I finally
no.
realized who it was. I was like, oh, I feel so bad.
No way. Well, well, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I will say though, to go into Corey Feldman now, he's still in stuff, and every once in a while, IMBD has things pretty fucked up, but for some reason, this has the actual release date coming up in 5 years of 2027. Um, The Goonies 2 on IMBD. And I just want to state that for a minute. Let it sink in.
Wait. Whoa.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look it up. Look it up, man. I don't.
Hasn't it been like 40 years since the last Goonies movie? Like, why do a part two
It's
40
like one of
years
my
later?
go-to films too, man. Like I'm a huge horror fan. Don't get me wrong, but
Oh goodness.
I fucking love the Goonies, and I'm not sure how
Yeah.
I feel about it, but him reprising Mouth, I will say, is actually a step in the right direction compared to the way some of these other people do it. If
I
they
mean,
do
to
this
be
fucking movie and they fucking end up having a bunch of random kids or something take over the roles, I'm gonna be pissed.
this is gonna happen because, to be honest, I thought Corey Feldman was dead. To be honest,
Well, I
I
mean, it's only gonna be it's not gonna be too much longer probably before he is. I mean,
I
not to sound like a
literally
dick or
thought he was
anything.
dead already. But forgive me, world. Any of his, I thought he was dead. To be honest.
Oh no, you're good. Um, he was also in 13 Fanboy. For those who don't remember, we had um, Deborah Voorhees on for that, and she's actually the writer, director, basically did everything for that movie, as well as played Tina in one of the Friday the 13th movies. So having him come back to actually be in there is pretty cool too for her. Just because Corey Feldman did, he was part of this franchise with Friday the 13th as well. Now on to keep it going, I mean, he did voices on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle show. I mean, he's done a lot of voice acting, a lot of random TV stuff over the past few years. I mean, the reality of it is though, is like if you want to look at Corey Feldman's career and the stuff that I would say personally is really, really good, you kind of have to like really jump back in his career there.
Yeah, when he was a teen and relevant once. I mean,
Well,
he died. He died with the 90s. So
well, I mean, we got Gremlins, Friday the 13th, A New Beginning, Goonies. We got Lost Boys. We got The Burbs. I mean, yeah, we're just now going into the 90s. So, yeah, he was the voice of Donatello in the Ninja Turtles movie. What did he do? What else? I mean, Loaded Weapon 1, he was in that. He was in Maverick. Voodoo. I mean, the guy's been in a ton of shit. Bordello of Blood. I mean,
is all this the 80s and 90s?
yeah.
You see, that's what I'm saying. He died with the 90s.
Well, all right, hold on. He was in the Puppet Masters versus Demonic Toys movie, which sucked. I'll give it that. Yeah, that one did suck. Really bad. Which sucks because I was such a fan of like the Demonic Toys comic books and shit. So I mean, having that crossover was kind of shitty. But I mean, it is what it is. I'm looking, man. I'm trying to find at least one good thing that he's done since then. And,
I mean, it's okay because a lot of people don't believe me. Like I said, Whitney Houston career died in the 90s. Also, people were like, no, it didn't. Like she was not popular after 99. Her career went downhill from there. So,
right. Well, I mean, yeah, I was not really my kind of music to begin with, but I get it. God damn it! I mean, he had to have done something before then. He was in that 2.5 Men, right?
I don't think unless he did like a
No,
guest star or anything. But no, he wasn't on there.
no.
I don't remember him being on there.
Hmm. Who was the one that was on that show?
That was I don't know his name. I know it was Charlie Sheen, the
Oh,
kid,
that's who it
and
was. Charlie Sheen. Yeah, they're
yeah.
both fucking psychos. I guess I get them a little confused at times. But yeah, yeah. But anyways, that hits up our cast there. Um, there was a movie that Corey Feldman was in called Dream a Little Dream. That is like a masculine version of Freaky Friday. Yeah. That's also not a bad movie, but also kind of more in his heyday. I think Martel
I've
kind of.
never heard of it.
I think you kind of nailed it. That he kind of like died in the 90s. I mean, it's sad, but I mean, yeah. A lot of the things I like died in the 90s, it seemed like. A lot.
Yeah. When the
Especially
new millennium
music, which
came around,
sucked.
everything ended.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Y2K did affect some things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, anyways, let's jump into this episode a little bit. So this episode, The Assassin, is definitely a different episode than what we normally get. With it being based off of one of the crime suspense stories issues, it's definitely more of a true crime type thing instead of being, like one of the Vault of Horror or Tales from the Crypt episodes where we get a little bit more of the horror aspect. Instead, we're getting some of this more human horror, if you will. So in this episode, we have a man and a wife who obviously seem like they are in this loving relationship. And the man ends up going out for work, and while he's doing that, the wife is taking care of the house, goes grocery shopping, comes back, and when she comes back, there is a woman at her table, Simone, and she's talking a little bit with her, and a little bit of questions about her husband, and kind of basically putting out there that he's somebody else, and then he's changed his appearance, and she ends up getting knocked out and then brought, she comes to, um, you know, in, in kind of a humorous fashion, if you will, too.
Yeah,
I mean,
because the
she's
coaster thing was hilarious. I'm gonna be honest.
well, I mean, when you see the stack of coasters there, it's like you almost knew it was coming. Like, like
Right.
it's in every TV show, especially in the 90s. For those who don't know, coasters were definitely a really big thing in the 90s, and I think they died in the 90s too.
The coasters are a big thing in my house still.
Well, don't feel bad. In fact, they're big at my house too. And for
Oh,
those
see?
who, if you're into coasters at all, and you do have some, you guys you should check out Sean Smithson and his little woodworking workshop that he has, where he actually makes his own and he does custom engraving. That's where these are from. So I actually do have a full set of custom engraved Tales from the Podcast coasters, which, yeah. But he's a great
Definitely
guy
check.
too. I mean,
Make sure you send me the link to that.
oh, dude, I will. I mean, in fact, the last contest we won, the last contest we did, the actual winner of it was my little sister, and she had a choice of prizes, but the prize that she actually took were custom engraved coasters from him, and ended up getting her dog engraved on these slate ones, which are like a black coaster. And
Hmm.
I'm not even gonna lie, I'm kind of jealous I didn't go with the slate ones. I mean, they look fucking phenomenal. I mean, the guy fucking kicks ass. So, I'll be looking actually for his shop real quick so I can post it out there for people to check out and check out what Sean's doing, because I mean the dude is super fucking talented, and he's worth I mean, well, realistically, I mean, woodworking is pretty expensive. So, I mean, it's not like the cheapest shit in the world, but his work is definitely worth checking out and worth purchasing. I don't really know about his actual page for the wood shop right now, but I did post his actual regular social media account. So go bug him, ask him why he's not here chatting about it and sharing the information himself. I know he's online right now because he already shared this. But so I was like, man, this motherfucker should probably jump in and start promoting himself while I'm talking about him. But
Right.
anyways, she ends up coming to uh, Janet. Now, after she does, she is surrounded by three people now. And that's when she's starting to realize that, you know, these people know her husband. He's changed his face, changed everything about him, and that he is fucked up, and that these dental records have popped up online, which is really speaking of something, because we're talking, this episode was 1994. I mean, I think it was like, it had to have been pretty close to this point in time when actually having the internet at home was a thing. Like, I don't know about you personally, but like, that's about when I had it, at least. Um,
Oh, I was very young. I don't remember internet until in the home until like 2001 for us. That's when we had that damn dial-up internet. That was horrible.
Really?
Yeah.
It looks like it was around 1991 is when it first became available.
Hmm.
Well, late 80s, probably late 80s, early 90s is kind of what I'm seeing around here. But for me, I mean, it came later. I mean, obviously, when stuff first comes out, it's a little bit more expensive. Kind of like, when VHSs first came out. I mean, you would go get a VHS tape for it was like $60 and the player was like 300. So I mean, it's very similar to basically anything new when it comes out. But anyways, they end up putting these dental records online. They end up seeing them, and now because of this, and they're after him. He used to be a operative agent who worked under the president to exterminate people. Now, fun story, but it's definitely a common kind of story that we get in this episode when it comes to that. I mean, I don't know about you, Martel, but I feel like this is definitely one of those kind of stories that it's kind of a bit overdone in a way. Oh, the agent is disappeared, and now we have to take care of him.
Yeah.
But they don't want to leave any witnesses, so they have to kill her. So they end up having Corey Feldman's character take her to the basement to kill her. Going down to the basement, he asks her about her favorite piece of equipment because he has like a little home gym there. She says it's the treadmill and claims to know exactly how he likes it. And she goes and walks up on the treadmill and bends over and kind of teases him to come over because apparently she actually did know exactly how he liked it. So for anybody who's actually after Corey Feldman, remember, he loves it when you bend over. So he pulls his pants down, wobbles all the way over there, gets ready to penetrate her, if you will. And she turns on the treadmill, and his tie gets stuck into it and chokes him to death after he falls.
Leave it to him to be the first person to get killed.
At the time, he was probably the biggest name, and they probably couldn't afford him for day 2 of filming. So they were like, let's kill him really fast. So, I mean, so anyways, she ends up going to go back upstairs, except now the door opens and Simone's there. She goes after her, and Janet goes and tries to shoot up there. It ends up falling, or Simone falls down the stairs, grabs Janet's gun, which has fallen into a can of paint, and as she's going to shoot her, ends up injuring herself as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, while that happened, Janet's already running away, runs into the bathroom where William is there, and ends up killing him with the high heel of her shoe. And then we get the comedic little toilet flush and everything after he passes, which obviously in the 90s, if you're gonna have the death on a toilet, you got to have the toilet flushing as well. It's just not the same without it. After that, we get another little turnaround there with Simone as well as Janet. Except this time, they're talking while everything is going on and kind of, well, not really talking, but, having at least a little bit of a discussion there. And while this is going on, though, we end up figuring out that Janet's not exactly who she claims to be. In fact, Janet is the man that she was looking for. And he has changed his appearance so much.
I did not see that coming. I'm going to be honest. I did not see that coming.
They even overdubbed her. Oh, God. And they end up, she ends up killing her. Pulls her off. It's like, oh, well, you guys are going to have to help me make dinner. And as that's going on, as Tina Marie. Wait, what? Yes.
Oh, hey, Tina, how you doing? That's one of the co-hosts on the show.
Oh, my show. All right. Hi, Tina. I never got a chance to meet you when Martel had me on. But man, what a fucking interesting little outcome we have there with that. But then she's like, all right, I'm gonna have my friends help me cook now. She goes and she has like 2 hours for this dinner party, which may I add is just one other couple.
Hmm.
And she ends up pulling like one of the hands off the oven. So obviously she cooks some of the people, which interesting way of doing it, I guess. I will say
Yeah,
though, how in 2 hours did she clean all that fucking blood up off a white carpet?
I was gonna say that too. And then I was like, when she first pulled like the dinner out of the oven, at first I was like, is this like a real like turkey leg or something, or this like a human thigh that she done chopped up and made dinner out of? Like, what is going on here?
I mean, I feel like it almost looks like a human thigh in a fucked up
Cause,
way.
cause did she pull like the foot out, like a foot or something out of the food?
It's like a piece of a hand. That was kind of gross.
Oh man.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
And what
as you
really
do.
had kind of tricked me out was the whole time the husband was totally innocent in this whole thing, and
You really
I
had no
had
idea.
I had a lot of questions. One is when they was on the treadmill and he exposed her, Corey's character.
Yeah.
Um, did they have sex change operations back then? Because if she was exposed and they didn't have the operation back then, wouldn't you have seen something else different before you tried to, like you said, penetrate?
Um, I'm not sure if they did.
It
I'm
is.
actually looking it out right now.
It
So the
is.
first attempt at a modern sex change operation took place in Berlin in 1930. Huh. I feel like that was probably more of a Nazi experiment than it was a real surgery.
Yeah. Because
Um,
I'm like, too, if this character is really a man, how come the husband didn't notice? So like, if they didn't have a full sex change operation during this time, uh, Tina, you are a nurse for a few months, so you should be able to know this. Uh, yeah, how was the husband sleeping with this person not knowing it was a man? That's what I want to know.
well, first off, we don't know how long they were together, but I'm assuming probably a lot of anal.
I guess so.
I mean, like, I,
Because I had so many questions at the end of this.
I mean, I get it. I do. I just, yeah, mm, I'm not 100% sure myself on that one. I mean, it is what it is. Drugs is what she says. Nah, David, the plot twist has been there, has been where the female turns out to be the male, has been used in many movies like Ace Ventura, Sleepaway Camp, or even in The Crying Game. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's definitely been used in quite a few. I
I
think
mean,
Sleepaway Camp was definitely one of them that did it really, really well compared to
but in
most
Ace
others.
Venturas though, they show at the end they show Mr. Winky. So that's what I'm saying. Like, how is this adult man is sleeping with this other on that is like I'm pretty sure you've seen this person naked at some point in your
Right. Well,
marriage.
I mean, after looking it up a little bit more, it seems like the actual surgeries have been going on since the 50s in America, like that. So, I mean, there probably was some way to do something. And, I guess, like, kind of after getting that beginning montage of seeing this happy marriage, that probably explains why there was no children.
Mm,
You
you're
know,
right.
so, you know, that's kind of like how I'm looking at it. I mean, I'm sure she probably, being like, in the 90s, I mean, it probably looked rough. I mean, that guy, he seemed really nice. So he's probably like, I can deal with the way that one looks. But I can't imagine it looking like a pretty nice vagina, if you will.
it because it seemed like I don't know the character. I forgot the name of the guy. The name
Um,
that they had said for the spy
oh,
was the
yeah, I
Rowland.
forgot the name too. I did.
But I mean that it seems like that guy was a freak. He like his neck being bit till he bleeds. I mean that guy was a true freak. So I'm like,
Yeah.
God, this man has had to know.
Well, I mean, yeah, yeah. It's definitely a weird episode. That's for sure. I will say, and kind of turning it around a little bit, it is significantly different than the comic book for this. And, maybe that's because this scenario would have never been written about in 1950s horror comics. So
True.
she said probably didn't care.
True.
Probably. Um, Now, in the comic book for this, we basically get a story that's told from the hitman's point of view. And this guy, for like the first 5 pages, is literally just following this man. It takes like 2 pages of the comic book for him to finally realize he's being followed. He's following down an alley. He has his gun out. It's dark. He doesn't see him. Ends up seeing other people. Doesn't want there to be witnesses. Which, you get a little bit of that kind of crossover into the actual episode as well. And then by the time he's starting to realize that he is being followed, he goes into the subway. And, the hitman comes into there, follows him more, and then ends up going into a really dark black room where the hitman finally has him, shoots him, and then the lights turn on. They walk backstage to a play production, and now there's 500 witnesses that saw him shoot this man. And that is the comic book.
Well, why didn't we get that version?
Because in the
That
90s, we were being progressive and we wanted there to be the first like little trans person on second trans person on Tales from the Crypt. I don't know, honestly. I mean, to be fair, the first time they did the trans thing, it was pretty fucking transphobic and it was like done in like a comedic way. There was like a bar scene and a girl comes over and is pissing at the urinal and they realize she had a dick. It was like a background character.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I
But,
mean,
as you do in the 90s.
The comic book version, I mean, come on.
Yeah. I mean, the comic definitely has a.
I mean, I would have had less questions if they did the comic book version.
Right. No, I get it, man. I mean, I don't know exactly what to even say about that. Like, you are completely right. There would have been a lot less questions. But we did not get that story. Instead, we got this one. And, if you're mad about it, you could definitely blame probably Martin Van Hasselberg and Scott Nimmerfro.
I've lately gotten into listening to audiobook books, and I've been realizing that when I've listened to the book version of movies, it's a total lie. I'm tired of being lied to.
You are right, and you got my buddy Corny joining in. Hey, Corny, how's it going, man? Hope you're doing well. And no, dude, you're right. Because of what I do, it's a lot easier for me because I spend a lot of time working and driving. So, with that being said, it's so much easier for me to do audiobooks, and I that's how I do almost every book I do nowadays, and it's a pain in the fucking ass, that's for sure. Well, I will say though, I love audiobooks things has changed the world for me. I love it, all the way until there's certain ones you can do and certain ones you can't do. I much preferred actually reading Lord of the Rings compared to the audiobook version of that one. I will say that much, but that was me. I agree completely. I do want to know though what you thought about this episode, and if you can give me your rating between 1 and 10 on it.
Just because it was a funny episode to me, I would give it an 8.5. Just because it was funny. It would have got a somewhat higher score if I didn't have to have about it. But yeah, I get about 8.5.
I mean, I'd say that's pretty fair. I think with this episode, I'm probably going to give it about an 8, 7.5, 8. I mean, there are a lot better ones in my opinion. Because of just some of the cast of this one that kind of made it really cool. I really, really fucking wish they could have followed the comic book a little bit more on this one.
Yeah.
Like, I understand they have to update some of these scenarios to actually make them, more
to go with that time
with
of
the
what's
time.
going on at that time. Yeah.
But I mean, they took this one pretty far from the story.
And one thing I've noticed, I don't know if it's just me, but it sounds like the Simpsons stole their interest music from this show. They sound very similar to me.
Oh, I mean, I'm gonna say they're no, no. I think they're yeah,
It's like
they're
they took out the spooky part of it, but it's a section of the song where it sounds like very similar to the Simpsons theme music.
well, yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. You know,
Damn it, Simpsons.
it's all about having that real kind of what you would call it like orchestra behind doing things.
Yeah.
You know, and with that being said, I mean, they're just
Just new
this is the way
generation
it
now,
is.
y'all do everything on your dang computers. All your music is on your dang computers. Back in my day, you had people go to the studio with a live band and record music. These days, y'all just sit there on your computer and tap, 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 and the song is made. Easy these days. They don't know the value of hard work.
Dude, I definitely understand as somebody who's a huge fan of all of it. I mean, but I mean, I think the first time I ever did any personal recording was on like an 8-track recorder. So, like,
No,
yeah, I don't know if you ever used one of
no,
those.
no. You prehistoric with that one.
It's
Yeah.
that's not that fucking prehistoric, you dick. I'm, I am trying to think though. Like, do you know who composed the Simpsons theme?
I have no idea.
Because I don't know that. Because I know that. I'm looking that up right now.
Because it's more
Because I know that Danny
the
Elfman composed the Tales from the Crypt one, and Danny Elfman looks like he did the Simpsons too. So I
oh,
mean,
see,
yeah, I mean, of course, yeah. There we go.
yeah, there we go.
See, I still have one of those.
She still has every classic piece of music equipment ever made where you can listen to music on.
Oh, really? Really? I mean,
That's because her
eh,
parents was born in the '40s, so they had a lot of that stuff.
Tina and I might have to have a little bit of a chat because I think I might have some stuff that most people never even had. Like I have things that were popular for like a month before they got blown out of the water. Like there's like weird little shit. Like I think the last one I bought was probably the mini disc.
The mini disc.
Mm-hmm.
What you mean? I remember the mini disc for like the GameCube. What do you mean a mini
Nope.
disc?
Mini discs were almost like a hard floppy drive. It was in between cassettes and CDs. She goes, I remember those.
See,
They
I
were the
remember the transition between cassettes and CDs, but I don't remember.
right. It's like between the transition. It's like what the transition between VHS and like DVDs. A lot of people don't forget all about the laser discs.
Maybe I am getting. Oh gosh.
No, man, I'm telling you, dude. I got, I got. You are not lying, Tina. It was brief as fucking hell. I was, I, I had one when they came out, and then it was like 2 weeks later the CDs took over. It's like they never made music on the mini discs, so like you couldn't go to the store and actually buy them.
I
It
mean,
was
what did
kind
you play it on? Like,
you would put it into like you would hook it up into the player for the mini disc player, and then you would hook that up to your computer, and then you would put the music from your computer onto it.
that sounds so complicated.
It was so fucking stupid.
That sounds very. That just
it,
made my head hurt trying to
it's
figure
kind
it
of like
out.
having an MP3 player that only had like 200 megabytes, but the 200 megabytes had to been put on little floppy disks that you inserted into it.
Oh, no, that's just too much work.
Like it was so
No.
bad. It
Oh
really was.
God, no.
Oh, dude, yeah,
Good
yeah.
thing that invention did die really fast. Good God.
Well, I don't think it was by choice. I think CDs just really fucking took over. No,
Oh,
I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad though. I mean, you know, well, you know what? CDs, MP3s fucking destroyed it for real. But I mean, it wasn't horrible. The the quality was good.
I mean,
Mine was mine was a Sony Walkman version. So like it wasn't like big names didn't pick up the format. But I'm kind of assuming it's like something that it had to have been something like what happened with like the porn genre, like why HD DVDs never made it because the porn companies all went with Blu-rays. So that's why the
Hmm.
Blu-rays ended up being so big. So just like everything else in the world, it got determined because of our dicks. So,
Oh, that's another way. Wow.
I mean, it's weird to think about
You,
it, but when you really
yo,
look at history,
want my
it is a
porn to
very
be as clear as
interesting.
possible. Put it.
The HD DVDs weren't bad either. Like for those who are kind of curious, back in the early 2000s, so you'd go and buy a Blu-ray, which when they first came
Hmm.
out, and you got your Blu-ray. The HD ones had the cases were like almost like a bloody, like almost like a blood red color. So they were like the same size and everything, but more of that color. In fact, if you guys do have a Blu-ray player, go check out Slutty the Clown and have yourself a fun time. It is not a
Thank
porno.
for thank God for Microsoft. So for those of us who still play the video game consoles, we can still play these on there because nowadays this stuff without disc trays on there. So pretty soon we're not gonna be able to watch any of that stuff.
Well, yeah, that's true. But talking about Microsoft, they had a pretty failed fucking music thing too. Remember the Zune?
That sounds so familiar.
I bet
Then
Tina
there had to be
remembers it.
something that like that's not like something that came and went really fast.
Oh, almost as fast as the mini disc player.
Oh, well, see, that's why then.
Zune was basically Microsoft's version of the iPod.
Oh, they and the iPods came when iPods was popular for like what a year, maybe a
Oh
year and
no,
a half.
iPods were popular for probably about 4 or 5 years. They were popular all the way till the touch came out, and then they turned it into a phone. And she
See,
remembers that.
I well, she's old as hell, so of course.
I'm only a couple years older than you. All right, this is what is old as hell? Because I remember all this stuff. Is Tina like my age, and you're trying to make her sound like she's a
Well,
grandma?
she's almost a decade older than me, so.
No, so she's still younger than my wife.
Oh well, yeah, true.
Josh Nealis joins us and pants off. Ah, there we go. Looks like Josh Nealis is just getting home. And in fact, if you are a fan of Josh Nealis or know him at all, you should check out some of the stuff he has going on over at cutthroatcomics.com. Um, and I'm sure since Josh is paying attention and watching now, hopefully he can, reaffirm if this is true or not. But I'm pretty sure I saw a little post earlier that the second Hellscape actual book is out on their Concert of Flies. So if you're into more of a darker side of Josh Nealis's writing, I mean, it's Martel, you're a reader, man. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I do work for Cutthroat Comics. Josh Nealis is technically my boss. This is not me doing suggestive selling whatsoever. But I will say that Josh does put out some pretty good work. I will say some of his comic books are not for everybody, but I mean, as far as his actual books, he's fucking killing it. And yes, it does look like Hellscape Concert of Flies is on here. But I would strongly suggest checking that out if you're into anything that he is doing with that. Um, and you can pick up that book for $14.99. But
Oh,
the first one's on there too, and I mean it's a good book, dude. I got that one. I fucking love it. It's probably one of my favorite ones that he has. But then again, I don't have his book, the Cocaine Stripper Stronghold, which from actually going to conventions with Josh, that is hands down his bestseller. I mean, the dude's
you had me at strippers for some reason. I'm always talking about strippers and cocaine. They mix.
dude.
You had me at strippers.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, dude. Getting those three books. I mean, yeah, it's for the price. I mean, you're spending $45 for three books, but I'm telling you, dude, it's definitely worth checking out what he has going on over there.
I've been trying to
I
get Tina to go to strip club for years. She still won't go.
really drug
Yeah,
her.
she won't go.
No, I'm joking.
I mean, like, if I can get her drunk enough, maybe I can convince her to go to the strip club.
She's right up your alley. Yeah, yeah. I'm telling you right now, man. Uh, really check out what he has going on over there. Not suggested selling it at all. I mean, legitimately, just some really good work. I mean, I was a fan of Josh's for a few years before I actually even worked with the guy. So I was purchasing the stuff before I even worked with him. I mean, it's worth it, that's for sure. And I posted the links for everyone to go check that out over at this cutthroatcomics.com or .storeenvy.com, which strongly suggest checking out. And you can get some cool hats there too. I mean, they're pretty sexy. Um, anyways, Martel made it through an episode,
I
another
did
one.
it.
Woohoo! We're definitely gonna have to figure out a movie to get you on here soon because I want to blow your mind with some weird shit. And I don't think I'm gonna be able to do that with Tales from the Crypt as much. In fact, we might have to work up something and even have Tina come on with you and have like your show and my show do like a little
Oh yeah, most
collaboration.
definitely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What's the most fucked up thing you've ever seen?
Uh, I have to be honest. I don't know because I've seen so much crazy stuff.
Really? You don't know? Well, I
I don't.
promise I'm gonna do my best to ruin your life after we do this movie.
I don't mind anything with blood and guts. Anything that has to do with taking souls and digging holes. I'm down for it.
All right. How's your views on necrophilia?
for for the sake of entertainment, I will sit through it.
I will let you know right now it's not entertaining. It's
I
not
mean, for the sake of entertaining the people,
all right, all
the viewers, I will sit through it.
right. She was, I've seen it at the hospital. Oh, oh, I think she's seen real
I,
ones.
I mean, we seen a lot working at that place.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I've known people that have run funeral homes and worked in morgues. And then just with my own morbid curiosity, I've been around a lot. But I mean, I will say, yeah, I'll figure out a way to fuck with you as
Oh
well as
yeah,
your co-host
I
and have you
have
on.
been I have been in rooms right after somebody passed away and their body is just still there. It's not bagged up or anything. And people be like, "Ew, why are you going in there?" I'm like, "It's just the body. I'm
Oh,
used to
dude, yeah. I mean,
it."
I
They're like,
got,
"But they're dead." I'm like,
yeah,
"What can they do to me? Hell, you more dangerous to me than this dead
nothing. But
body."
their skin and everything sinks in really fast,
hmm
like a lot faster than you would actually think. Um, I found that one out too from the same reason. But yeah, I mean, it's different. It really is.
I
Anyways,
say, yeah,
Martel.
there's dead bodies being carted past me all day along at work, so you get used to it.
Well, I mean, I wish I worked where you are. I mean, unfortunately, that doesn't happen at my job, but we've had people die there.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
But anyways, now I feel like I might have left it on a sour note, but let's, I mean, who said they didn't deserve it? There we go. Now, anyways, Martel, why, why don't you tell everybody where the hell they could find you, man?
They can find me every Tuesday and Thursday on Facebook Live or YouTube Live on the Same Cast Different. Oh crap! I missed my own podcast name. Same Cast Different Day podcast, Facebook or YouTube page every Tuesday and Thursday. We go live from 7:15 to 8 p.m.
Awesome. So, guys, check them out every Tuesday, Thursday. Thank you, Martel, so fucking much for coming on, man. It's always a pleasure. And like I said, I can't wait to have you on again soon so we can chat some more. And, I guess before we go ahead and get out of here, next week, still working on some little bit of tweaking stuff, figuring out things because had a small issue with the guest, but we're going to figure it out. So, but regardless of that, we are still reviewing the same movie and we are ending our Peter Jackson time with one of our favorite Peter Jackson movies, and that will be Dead Alive. So next week, check us out as we talk about more Peter Jackson, the horror side of Peter Jackson, not the Lord of the Rings side, which I personally love, but Chuck is not a fan of fantasy movies because Chuck can sometimes be a wiener.
Chuck?
Huh?
I mean, he doesn't like fantasy movies. Oh, I'm gonna have to go shake that guy.
Dude, please. I mean, I've been talking to him. Like, I almost would rather have done like the Hobbit series, but I mean, I'm a huge fan of that shit personally. But you know, what can you do? Dead Alive is still a great fucking movie. It's definitely worth checking out. So if you are into Peter Jackson, you like seeing some of his early work, watch Dead Alive and join us next week at 10 p.m. Eastern as we chat about Dead Alive with somebody who will be disclosed probably on Saturday at 10 o'clock. Because I probably won't have time to go through and change the ad for it. But anyways, it should be a fun time. It's always fun talking about Peter Jackson. The guy is fucking phenomenal. And you know, if you have seen that one and you still want more Peter Jackson to watch, we've already reviewed it, but always just go back and watch Meet the Feebles. It is one of the greatest fucking movies you will ever fucking spend your time on. And it's free on Tubi, so you're not spending a fucking dime. So quit being a douchebag, watch that fucking movie, and give me your opinions. I want to hear them. So anyways, like I said, Martel, thank you so fucking much, man.
Thanks for having me on.
Dude, anytime, for real, man. You're a fucking pleasure to have on, for real. So you know, we'll chat some after here though. But anyways, thanks everyone for watching. You guys fucking kick ass. Remember, buy my fucking comic book. Martel has it, and Martel thought it was good, I think. Or if he didn't think it was good, he lied and told me it was.
Oh no, it's worth the money. Go buy it.
So there you go. See, you heard it from somebody else other than me. So check it out. Thank you all. Love you all. And with that being said, the crypt is closed.
Thanks for listening, kiddies. You're all a scream.